Hi everyone, my name is Tanasia and I am the host of The Carpenter's Touch. Today we're looking into the Book of Ecclesiastes Chapter 12, the last book of Ecclesiastes. So we are ending the series today, and today that it is being posted is Christmas Day, so also Merry Christmas, and gosh, can we just take a moment to appreciate God's goodness? I think one thing I learned recently, all my life, I grew up understanding that Christmas is about Jesus and the birth of Jesus. And I was like, I want to celebrate my Lord's birthday, my Savior's birthday. And that was on my mindset, especially when I got saved, because I was like, I know who He is and I want to celebrate Him even more on His birthday. Until recently, I realized from watching like two different Christmas specials on like YouTube that Christmas doesn't just start with Jesus being born, our Savior being born, but rather it starts with the reason why He's born. Why is Jesus born? Why was He born? Why did He come here? And then we remember that Jesus came down from heaven, from the most beautiful place, and He said, nope, I'm gonna bring myself low and I'm going to die for people. He said that. He did that for us. And I think this Christmas we should definitely not forget that Jesus was born, and He was born for our sake. He was born as our Savior. He is the Prince of Peace. So this Christmas, let's not forget why Jesus came to this earth for. He came to this earth for us, okay? Let's just not forget that. So that is heavy on my mind as well to talk about. Merry Christmas, have a great day, and a Happy New Year. Yeah. This book of Ecclesiastes has been a journey with you guys through reflecting on grief, but we will talk more about that at the end of the video. Right now, let's just dive right into today's video and kind of, finish the book of Ecclesiastes together, okay? Let's look into Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. So, what I understand about this Bible verse is that it is advice. This verse alone is a piece of advice from God that as we get older, we tend to worship the created more than the Creator. That's why God calls us to have childlike faith, because we tend to grow older and just start having a different mindset, a different outlook on life, and we forget to have childlike faith in it all. But this Bible verse encourages us to not forget our Creator. Also, it says, before the evil days come, trust me, the evil days will come. The last part about this verse that I want to talk about, when it says, and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them, it's just that I feel like it's God reminding us that it is okay, because we will all reach a point of questioning. We will all reach a point of doubt. We will all have a moment of questioning the world around us, questioning God Himself. It is natural. We are inquisitive human beings, and we are naturally curious. We are naturally worshippers. So we want to understand what is worthy of our worship. And so we question what is worthy, and we question what is not, and why it is not. Things like that. Verse 2. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened and the clouds return after the rain. So something I want to take note of with this whole thing, I think it's similar to personification, because I'm reading about the sun and the light and the moon and the stars, and I'm thinking brightness of youth. The clouds return after the rain. I think of trouble that keeps coming back. But verse 3 says, in the day when the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men are bent, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those who look through the windows are dimmed. So I feel like now with this verse, with these verses in general, are just talking about growing up. Like it's the personification of growing up. It's not a personification, I'm mixing up the word, but imagery. It's an imagery of growing up. Because in the day, I think of the body deteriorating. As we get older, our body changes. Our body changes, and that is normal and it is natural, right? But keepers of the house tremble, arms and hands shaking. Strong men are bent. Posture. You know, as we get older, our posture just gets more and more terrible. That's why we need to work on it. But yeah, grinders cease, loss of teeth. Those who look through the windows are dimmed, failing eyesight. Verse 4. And the doors on the street are shut, when the sound of the grinding is low, and one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of song are brought low. With the street being shut, I think of hearing loss. And sound of the grinding, difficulty in eating. One rises up at the sound of a bird, insomnia or loss of sleep. The daughters of song are brought low, the fade in hearing or the fade in enjoyment of life. Verse 5. They are afraid also of what is high, and terrors are in the way. The almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire fails, because man is going to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets. When I read afraid also of what is high, I'm reminded about failing physically, your body failing, your body getting more frail and fragile. The almond tree blossoms, white hair, you know when your hair changes color as you get older? That's what I remember. Grasshopper drags itself along, low energy. Because like grasshoppers, they just jump up and down and they've got a lot of energy. But when it drags itself, you can tell like it's weak, it's not okay, and it's just kind of like done. It's going through something. It's not normal, you know? Desire fails. Desire, loss of passion. And I'm thinking passion, you know? Because man is going to his eternal home, which is death, or the grave, or Sheol. Mourners go about the streets, which reminds me of like funerals, because back in the like olden days of the Bible, I remember they used to like have people just crying and wailing and stuff like that whenever somebody dies, and they do it so loudly. Why did it get so white all of a sudden like that? But they do it so loudly outside of your house, and some people would even go as far as hiring people to do it. I don't know why, or I forgot the reason why, but I think that's why it's written here. And as I'm reading all this, I don't think I, really felt God remind me of this, but I think that I was taught this stuff that I'm teaching you by God through like an online website or something like that. I just didn't write where I got the information from, but I don't know. I just feel like I did get it from somewhere, so just wanted to give that disclaimer. Verse 6. Before the silver cord is snapped, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher is shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Now, let's unpack this verse together. The silver cord is snapped. Lifeline being snapped. That's what I'm reminded of. Golden bowl is broken. The vessel is broken, or the vessel, our holy temple, our bodies, is breaking. So when I read, or the wheel broken at the cistern, I have a note written here to say that water can no longer be drawn. Therefore, the life is ended. And I don't know, as I'm reading that note, I think about how we have to go to God as the source of life. So in this world, we learn to have a relationship with God differently, turning to Him for our source of living water in a different manner every single day, every single moment. But when we are died, this cistern that is broken, our way to meet Jesus, changes. We are in a closer proximity with Him when we choose to follow Him eternally. And that decision is made before we die. So I feel like that's why Ecclesiastes is ending also on this note about death, to say, guys, never forget that there's life after death. So be conscious, be sure of the decisions that you make. Above all, let Jesus be the decision that you make. And actually, in correlation to what I'm just saying right now, I have a note here, like explaining that this passage, verses 2 to 6, are the change in atmosphere as death creeps in. That is the note that I have. But let's continue to verse 7. And the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. So here it says dust returns to the earth as it was. Let's not forget that our flesh is temporary, and to dust we will return. Now also, God who gave it, He is our reason for being. He is our creator. Let's not forget that we are the created. Verse 8. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanities. And in reading that, I remembered that there is a priority in having a relationship with God. Everything else in life is temporary. And you know, something I just want to say, just for like the fact that we're also ending this series, is that as I'm reading this verse, I'm remembering how when I first started reading the Book of Ecclesiastes and I wanted to share it with you guys, this is like videos ago, videos I haven't even posted. Well, why does he keep doing that? Well, videos that I tried to post, but it just didn't work out well, and that's a whole other story. And I remember the first time I made the video, I was talking about how, as I read the Book of Ecclesiastes, the first time, all I kept on saying is vanity of vanities. All is vanity. Everything I did throughout my life during that time period, I walked around thinking to myself and even saying that vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And we shouldn't forget that truly all is vanity. But that doesn't truly matter, because at the end of the day, even though everything is temporary, God is not temporary. He is eternal and He is worthy. Verse 9. Besides being wise, the preacher also taught the people knowledge, weighing and studying and arranging many proverbs with great care. I don't know. I just feel like this is a bit of a history, like a historical record of what the preacher did. Verse 10. The preacher sought to find words of delight, and uprightly he wrote words of truth. And can I just say that let everything that we say be said in truth. We serve the God of truth. Therefore, we should be walking and living in truth. Verse 11. The words of the wise are like goads. Goads? I don't know what that word is, or how to pronounce it. And like nails firmly fixed are the collected savings. They are given by one shepherd. Can I just say that word shepherd has a capital S. So that reminds me of Jesus. But what I understand about this verse is that our words and our actions are to be led by God. Because it's saying shepherd, right? We are the sheep. We are called to follow Him, and we are called to be led by Him. Do not, and you know, the thing is, sheep are so stubborn, and they just, like, have you ever watched sheep? I haven't really watched them too much, but from like the glimpses I've seen from the internet, they are something else, and I see why God compares us to them. So another thing that I want to also add on to that is that as we are rooted, as we are following Jesus as our shepherd, let's be rooted in Him, staying in Him, because it reminds me of that Bible verse that talks about like how He is the branch and we are the vines, and we need to be close with Him like that. And I think about how also we need to be rooted so that we bear fruits that give Him the glory in our lives, because our lives are the greatest gospel somebody will ever read. Verse 12, my son, beware of anything beyond these. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Now, the thing with verse 12 is that this world has so much to offer. Don't get me wrong. This world is so beautiful and there is so much to it. There is so much beauty in it. There is so much desire in it. But the thing is that at the end of the day, nothing will fill the emptiness in your heart like Jesus. Verse 13. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This right here is an instruction. And as we end the book of Ecclesiastes, this is the instruction that we are left with. This is the instruction we should keep in our hearts, that we should fear God and keep His commandments. This is the whole duty of man. This is what we are called to do. God is a good God and everything. He is beautiful. He is wholesome. But He is worthy of our fear. And that's not to say we should be scared of Him, but rather we should be in awe of Him. In so much awe and in so much respect that we don't want to do wrong by Him or go against Him. That's the fear we are called to have. And can I just say also that even though we are called to do that, we are called to fear Him in that manner, we are humans. We are naturally going to sin and go against God. But the thing is, always return to God. No matter how much you sin and you fall and you stray away from God, return to Him. He is not mad at you. He has not abandoned you. He has not given up on you. He will never give up on you. He has never left you. Verse 14, our last verse of Ecclesiastes chapter 12, our last verse of the book of Ecclesiastes, reads, for God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. And this verse is a promise. This verse is what will happen. So we are called to follow God. And at the end of the day, Judgment Day is waiting for us. Life after death involves Judgment Day. And my husband was explaining to me again yesterday, like last night, was it early hours of this morning, I don't remember, but he was reminding me to say that the difference between a believer and a non-believer is that on Judgment Day, we are approaching God with our list of sins. It's like going to the grocery store and we have accumulated all this list of sins, but we get to the till and Jesus has paid our debt. There is a discount there and we are saved by Him. That's the difference with a non-believer. So that is what I want to share about just how at the end of the day it all comes down to, have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior or not? And I want to share with you that Jesus died for you. He came down as a man and He gave His life to save you. And this was years ago. But that doesn't change the fact that He chose you and He died for you. So please, if you haven't given your life to Jesus, then this is my encouragement to do so. It is worth it. He is worth it. And He loves you. Jesus loves you. So I'm sorry if I sounded fast-paced and all over the place in this video. I asked my husband to leave the room so that I could make this video. And I was trying to speed up because I feel bad for kicking him out of the room so I could make this video. But shout out to him. He has given me so much patience, especially on this journey. And shout out to God also, especially for making a way for me to make this video, But yeah. That is it for us, guys. We are done reading the book of Ecclesiastes. To everybody that has been journeying along with me, thank you. And what does that now mean moving forward for this YouTube channel. I am still dedicated to this YouTube channel. I'm still dedicated to glorifying God in it. It is His ministry, and I want to show you who God is using my life. That is what I feel like this ministry is meant to do. So I will continue making videos, even though this is the end of the Ecclesiastes series. I will continue making videos, and it'll all be for God's glory and just sharing my story with you. As you know, at the end of every Ecclesiastes video, we take some time to reflect on where I'm at in my journey. Where are you at in your journey of grief? Because that is the whole point of the Book of Ecclesiastes. So I want to open up a bit as we end the Book of Ecclesiastes together. I started reading this book as a way of inviting God into my grief. He is actually the one that called me to do this because I was grieving, I wasn't okay, I was in the pits, in the trenches, and God called me closer to Him in the grief by reading this book. I don't understand what He meant at the time, but as I spent time reading the book, it was just Him and I, and it was beautiful, and He helped me through my grief. But even more so as time went on, when I was done reading the Book of Ecclesiastes, I still found moments of grief and feeling upset and everything, and yet God called me now to read the book again, but this time sharing it with you. That is why the Book of Ecclesiastes, the series that I've been doing, has been from the lens of grief, because I have lost people, I have experienced grief in different circumstances, and so reading a book that talks about how everything is meaningless felt very comforting in that moment, and especially comforting to know that regardless of the fact that everything is meaningless, one thing is certain and one thing is true, and that is Jesus, that is God, that is the Holy Spirit. So what I want to do as we end the series in today's video is I want to take a portion of it to dedicate what, and like just open up a bit about what has been going on, right? So the reason why I was in grief is because, like I've shared with you guys before, I lost my grandmother and I lost my great-grandmother all in the space of 1 month. In the midst of that, I was moving countries, and at the time I wasn't sure if I was moving or not. I visited my family, and then next thing you know, I'm moving in with my family, and none of it was planned. Nothing in my life at the time was planned, and in everything, friendships, families, it all just felt like a loss, and it was all just heavy on me, and I felt so alone, and I felt confused. And even though I had people with me, especially like my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, was there for me, I still felt alone. So this is to say that at times you can be surrounded by so many people and still feel alone. You can be surrounded by so many things that you feel like are meant to comfort you and still feel alone, because at the end of the day, the only thing that can fill the void in your heart is Jesus. So I want to take a moment to just share with you and open up about who my grandmother is to me and who my great-grandmother is to me. And I use that in the present tense because God is love and He is eternal. Love is eternal. That means the love I have for my grandmother and my great-grandmother lives on with them. They may have passed on, yes, but that means that their flesh is what has passed on, not who they are at the core. That is what I believe, because I believe in Jesus. I believe there's life after death. I believe in the resurrection. Therefore, the ending of the life of my grandmother and my great-grandmother is not the ending that is promised for them. Death has been defeated. Grave has been defeated. They are living on. That is what I believe. I believe in the resurrection, and that they will rise at the resurrection, and I will see them again. I will rejoice with them again. I will sing with them again. But right now, I live, and I live in memory of them. I live on in memory of them, or as I live on, I do it remembering them. That is the best way I can put it. So I want to talk a bit about them. My grandmother took me in when I was young. I'm just going to focus on these two people. There were many other people in all these situations, but I want to focus on them only. because they are the main reasons that I read the Book of Ecclesiastes, and I want to just appreciate them as I'm ending reading the Book of Ecclesiastes with you guys. So I want to share with you who they are, how they impacted me, and just to open up about it really. My grandmother took me in when I was a baby, when I was a young child after my mother passed away. She raised me all my life, and she was my best friend, really. I was her handbag. She would always say, I am her handbag. Teachers and everyone that would say, I'm undisciplined in many different languages would call me an egg for her. I was her egg. My grandmother took me in as her child. She didn't treat me differently. She didn't spoil me to the extent that I was such a snob or anything like that, but she taught me the value of life. She taught me everything that I know. The woman I am today is because of her. I found courage in her. I found the meaning of love in her. I found out, especially unfortunately after she passed on, after she passed on, I saw how much she really impacted me. And it's still something I'm working on, like the regret of everything, but I do remember her and I do appreciate her. She was my best friend when I was younger, and she always spoiled me. She always took time for me. She always encouraged that I do my hair, I do my nails. She encouraged me to be feminine. She encouraged me to be a woman. And as I grew up, I just found laughter with her. We had moments of laughter. We had moments of being silly together. We had moments of growth together. She supported me. She was always like my biggest supporter, especially like in moments when she was not okay with something I was doing. Like, I want to use my hair for example. When I first went natural, she was not happy about it because my hair grows quite fast and quite long, and she was like, it would look so much better if it was straighter, but I wanted to go natural, so I was ready to throw hands with her. But in the midst of all of that, as much as she kept on encouraging me to go straight and to have straight hair, she was still so supportive that I was going natural, and she was happy for me. She always encouraged me. She always made a way for me to follow my dreams. She never gave up on me. She Man, she was everything to me. She was the mother that I didn't know I needed. She she was an angel sent by God, and she was an answered prayer. I just know that my mother worried before she passed away about my future, and I know she prayed for the safety of my future, and that prayer was answered in my grandmother. And today, as I still live on, I know that I'm living in the answered prayer of my grandmother, because she wanted the best for me. And as things are unfolding in my life, as I'm moving on to new seasons in my life, I see that my grandmother's prayers have been answered. I am okay. And man, I don't know, if I could say something to my grandmother right now, it would probably be that I love you. I'm sorry, Thank you for being so patient with me. And you truly, truly are the best. Yeah, she was truly the best, man. And as I live on, I want to make sure that I keep her memory alive, and I keep alive the hope of seeing her again. So, yeah, I never wanted to open up. I didn't truly plan on opening up about her death because not only is it painful, but also I feel like it is something not worth fixating on. Part of me feels angry and that her death was unjustified, but the other part of me understands that there is more to life than death. I don't want to fixate on the death of her, but I want to rejoice in that she is alive in Jesus. That is what I will trust in. That is what I will live on remembering. And her grave, you know what was so cool is that her grave had roses. We planted roses for her, and those roses flourished so beautifully. It is magical how they did it. And we managed to put like a tombstone for her, thanks to God. It is a beautiful tombstone in honor of her beauty, in honor of how strong she was. Man, it hurts as I think about her, as I talk about her, but at the same time, she has always been my anchor. And some days are harder than others, but I will, I'll just keep on doing life, man, remembering her like this and making sure that even though she has passed away, her memory is living on. Her name is living on. And in everything I will do, I have faith that, you know, she is still living on because she literally raised me. Of course I'm going to like exhibit habits that, you know, represent her. It's normal, it's natural and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to take that portion, that moment to be open and honest and roll with you that that is who my grandmother was to me, and losing her truly was the most heartbreaking thing ever. But at the same time, I have never been close to God as I was during this grieving period. Yeah. As for my great grandmother, you know, it's so funny because last Christmas I spent it grieving mainly over my grandmother because it was the first Christmas without her. This Christmas, I remember my great grandmother the most because I don't know, I've spent a lot of time healing and getting through the grieving process over my grandmother. And grieving over two people at the same time is really hard, or grieving over more than one thing is really hard, but it is possible. I'm a living testimony that it is possible. And another thing is that, especially when you're walking through grief with God, He will help you through that. He will always make an opportunity for you to feel, for you to heal, and for you to move on. That is who God is, you know. He is the God that prunes. He's the God that helps and loves. So I want to remember my great grandmother in this season, right? It's Christmas. And she used to play this song constantly, and it was so annoying. But every time, the moment the clock strikes December, she would play this song. And, you know, I completely forgot about it last year, but this year I remember it and I miss her so much, man. It was annoying then, but now I'm just like, man, yeah, she was just a woman that loved Christmas, you know. I want to keep enjoying Christmas, remembering her too. As for my great grandmother, she wasn't truly in my life as much as as much as my grandmother was, you know. But we truly grew close in the last year of her being alive. God brought us together and allowed for a friendship to build during that year. I needed someone, she needed someone, we found each other, and we grew a bond that truly will not be broken no matter what. And that is why I have faith in love, and that love is eternal, because the bond that we had, it cannot be broken, like genuinely. I grew to know her as a woman. I grew to know and respect her, to appreciate her, and she motivated me so much, you know. She would always send encouraging messages, messages of reassurance, messages of comfort. And she had no idea what was going on in my life. I never opened up about what I was going through at the time, but she still was there for me. And it was like God was speaking through her to me and was there for me through her. And I was there for her, and God was meeting her through me. Like, God was at the center of that relationship. That's how I will always remember her. And I think what was my biggest regret, you know, like how for my grandmother, my biggest regret was how I treated her. I wish I treated her better. But for my great grandmother, the biggest regret that I struggle with is that I didn't take a picture before she passed on, you know. I felt like God was calling me to take a picture with her before she passed away. And I was like hesitant on doing that. But then I didn't end up doing it. And now I'm just like, man, I wish I took a picture with her. But I do have one picture with her, so I'm happy to at least have something. And I'm grateful that God has allowed me to be born during this time where I have pictures and videos of my grandmother and my granny. And, you know, I get to be looking at them and remembering their faces, remembering the sound of their voice. It's truly a gift from God. And, you know, my great-grandmother, like I said, I don't want to focus on the death. I don't want to focus on what happened, on everything revolving around all of that. What I do want to focus on is their lives, the lives that they lived, and give thanks to God for allowing me to be born with them in my life, allowing them to live on to see me. I do wish that they could have lived on longer to see the woman I have become, but I have faith in that God is the author of life, and He declared it was time for them to be with Him, so I will trust in His timing. And, man, big shout out to them. Big shout out to them, honestly. So, that is how I want to end today's video, you know. I don't know, I'm just remembering how my grandmother and I, before she died, you know, I stopped calling her mama. I stopped calling her, you know, I would always call her mama. Like, growing up, I would call her mama, and she was just that mother to me. As I got older, we started doing this thing where we called each other by our nicknames, like our government nicknames. It was just our thing, and her name was Dolores, or her name is Dolores, I don't know. Her name was Dolores, her nickname was Dolores, and I miss Dolores, man. And I miss Granny so much. That's what I would call my great-grandmother. I would call her Granny. And I miss them. But as the Book of Ecclesiastes comes to an end, it doesn't mean that my grieving comes to an end with it. I will still be grieving, and I hope that you never forget that in your grief, it doesn't just end like that. It is a season, it is a journey. And just invite God into it. I am a living testimony that when you invite God into your grief, He will help you through it, and you will not get through it alone. And I'm a living testimony that it does get better. I was depressed. I was feeling really depressed, really anxious, and slightly suicidal, but not too much. But now that I'm on the other side, I'm in a much better, I don't want to say I'm healed, but I am feeling so much healing inside me that only God, I can truly only give God the glory for this, because He made a way. He blessed me with community. He blessed me with resources. He blessed me with an opportunity to feel. So, and here's the thing that I also want to share is that I tried to run away from God. I tried to run away from feeling all these emotions, from grieving, from feeling. But He brought me to a place where He sat me down and stopped everything in my life and said, you will not move on any further until you feel. So here is what I can tell you. When you are following God, He will make sure that He will finish what He started in you. That means that you cannot move on to the next season of your life until you have completed what is necessary for you to do in this season of your life. So trust God, feel your emotions, and let God lead. And trust me, when you let God lead, He will do amazing things for you. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of this journey with me. Thank you for being patient with me and for just allowing me to open up about everything. I hope that God has met you in the Book of Ecclesiastes. God has met you in your grief as much as He has met me, or even more. And as the trajectory, I think, of this YouTube channel changes, I hope that if you feel inclined to stay along for the ride, then please do so. If not, it is totally okay. Just continue to fix your eyes on Jesus. That's all that matters. Have a blessed day. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you feel like there is somebody that should watch this video too, please share it with them. And yeah, comment, please let me know what you think about it. And subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. So God called me to share my grief openly with you guys. If you feel like God is calling you to do something openly, then I encourage you to do it as well. Because truly, I don't want to be as open as I have been on the internet like this, but at the same time, I felt so much healing in doing so because I was also obedient to God in it all. And the more you are obedient to God, the more you draw closer with Him. So stay obedient and just cling to Jesus. As the last two verses of Ecclesiastes say, fear God and obey His instructions, and never forget that Judgment Day is coming. Jesus is coming back soon. Don't forget that.